Dear students, this video is the second the series of numerical problems on analysis of heat exchangers. Calculate for the following cases the surface area required for heat exchanger, which is required to cool 3200 kg per hour of benzene. Cp is 1.74 kilojoule per kg Kelvin from 72 degrees Celsius to 42 degrees Celsius. The cooling water Cp 4.18 kilojoule per kg Kelvin at 15 degrees Celsius has a flow rate of 2200 kg per hour. The cases are single pass counterflow, second one 1-4 heat exchanger, that is one shell pass, 4 tube pass, and cross flow single pass with water mixed and benzene unmixed, that is one fluid mixed and the other fluid unmixed. For each configuration, overall heat transfer coefficient may be taken as 0.28 kilowatt per meter square degree Celsius. So there are three different cases here. So we'll start the solution by writing the data out and then taking up one by one the cases. This is a sizing problem where you have to find out the surface area required for the given conditions. So U naught is given in kilowatt per meter square degree Celsius and it is expressed as 280 watt per meter square degree Celsius. And for hot oil, both inlet and outlet temperatures are known, 72 degrees Celsius and 42 degrees Celsius respectively. M dot H mass flow rate is 3200 kg per hour, so that is found to be 0.889 kg per second. Specific heat 1.7 kilojoule per kg Kelvin is written as 1740 joule per kg Kelvin. Similarly, for the cold fluid, that is water, is TCI, inlet temperature is 15 degrees Celsius, mass flow rate is 2200 kg per hour, 0.611 kg per second. CPC is 4.18 kilojoule per kg Kelvin given, and that is written as 4180 joule per kg Kelvin. Now we have this energy balance. Before going to any particular problem, this energy balance remains the same for any case. Energy balance on both the fluids is given by heat lost by the hot fluid should be equal to heat gained by the cold fluid, which is the same as the rate of heat transfer in the heat exchanger. By using this, we can write the mathematical expression of the same as Q is equal to m dot H into Cph into Thi minus Tho is equal to m C dot into Cpc into Tco minus Tci. And in this case, there are two functions which can be done here. That is, one is to find out the Q value of Q, and also we can find out Tco, which is not given in the problem, because you can just check out Thi, Tho and Tci are given, TCO are not given, because in this case we can find out TCO also. First we'll find out TCO, substituting all those values, and we can get the value of TCO as 33.2 degrees Celsius. And if we take only the first two terms, Q is equal to m dot H into Cph into Thi minus Tho, we can also find out what is the rate of heat transfer in this system. So we have TCO and Q found out. Q is 46400 watt. Now we'll take one by one the cases given. The first one is single pass counterflow. Okay, it is the same as the previous problem now explained in the first video. LMTD of counterflow heat exchanger equation to be written, and analyze the terms for verification if there is anything wrong there. Yeah, everything is fine. Thi minus Tco minus Tho minus Tci, and the same terms taken in the within the log, and the ratios are taken considered, and substitute those values of all the temperatures, and you can get the value of theta m. Theta m is the mean temperature, logarithmic mean temperature difference for the counterflow, single pass counterflow heat exchanger. And now since we are required to find out the surface area required, we can use the expression for rate of heat transfer. Q is equal to u naught a naught into theta m. So theta m is known, Q is known, u naught is given. So the only unknown is a naught. A naught can be found out for this case as 5.1 meter square. For the first case of single pass counterflow, A naught is 5.1 meter square. Now we have this TCO found out, and Q also found out. And for multi-pass flow and cross flow heat exchanger, the terminology has to be slightly changed. So you can see I have done it here. THI is termed as T1, capital T1 there, okay, and similarly THO is written as capital T2. TCI is small t1, the lowercase t1 there, and similarly the one which we have just found out, TCO, is termed as T2, okay, because this is what you generally see in your data handbook. And we have to use data handbook or the graphs or charts to get the value of correction factor in case of multi-pass flow and cross flow heat exchanger. Now we have 1-4 heat exchanger, that is one shell pass, 4 tube passes heat exchanger. For this case, you know that equation for rate of heat flow is given as Q is equal to U into A multiplied by theta m for multi-pass flow, the current heat exchanger. But the theta m, LMTD of multi-pass flow heat exchanger, is given as F, that is correction factor, multiplied by theta m, which is for counterflow. We have found out this theta m for counterflow already, but we have to find out the correction factor. Correction factor F. To find out correction factor, we have to use this P and R. P is small t2 minus t1 divided by capital T1 minus T1. So we have all these values given are found out. T2 is found out. So substituting these values, we can get the value of P as 0.32. Similarly, R is given by T1 minus T2, that is capital 1, divided by T2 minus T1 small, and substituting those values, we have R is equal to 1.65. So we'll have to make use of these P and R values in the graph for one shell pass, 4 tube pass heat exchanger to find out the value of correction factor. So we have this graph here. This graph is for one shell pass, 2 or 4 or any multiple of tube passes. So this graph is applicable to the current problem. So just check out the details available. R, for different values of R, the curves are drawn, and on the x coordinate we have P, and on the y correction factor. So if you check out that, there is no definite curve for 1.65. That is R is equal to 1.65. We don't have a curve, but we just have to assume or imagine a curve there and draw corresponding projection onto the y coordinate to get the corresponding value of correction factor. But to do so, you have to carefully observe these steps. First, you have to identify P is equal to 0.32 on the x coordinate. Okay, that P is equal to 0.32 is to be identified on this graph first, and then you draw an imaginary curve there. You don't have to write that down, but you can approximate it for R value 1.65. That will come somewhere between 1.5 and 2, but a bit closer to. Now I have just all these values, TCO, Q, F, theta m for counter flow we have, and using this rate of heat transfer equation. Okay, remember I am writing this Q equation as U naught A naught F into theta m, when theta m is the LMTD for counter flow heat exchanger and F is the correction factor. So F into theta m is the LMTD for multipass flow. So we have the only unknown this equation A naught, because Q is known, U naught is given, F is just found out, theta m is calculated as 32.5, and now we can find out for this problem, that is 1,4 heat exchanger, A naught is equal to 5.66 meter square. The same problem is extended for the last case, that is cross flow single pass with water mixed and benzene unmixed. So TCO and Q are already found out, including the LMTD for counter flow heat exchanger. Similar to multipass flow heat exchanger, even in cross flow heat exchanger, we have to use the correction factor. So this is the general expression for Q for cross flow. Q is equal to UA into theta m for cross flow. But that theta m for cross flow is the product of correction factor and the theta m for counter flow. And we have to find out this P and R for this case. But anyway, since P and R depends on the values of temperatures, then we have the same temperatures here. P and R values remains the same for this case. So P is 0.32 and R is 1.65. Now we have to use this chart for this case. Different chart. The different chart is for one the single pass cross flow heat exchanger, one fluid mixed and the other fluid unmixed. Okay, and now first we'll identify the point P is equal to 0.32 and draw a vertical line there, and then it is required to draw this 1.65 R, that is R is equal to 1.65, an imaginary curve there. And now from that intercept you have to draw the horizontal line. So this time we are getting the correction factor F is equal to 0.92. So you can observe a change there. For the previous case we got this correction factor as 0.9, but this time we got the correction factor 0.92. So using this correction factor we will find out the corresponding value of A naught. So everything out listed here, TCO, Q and the correction factor, and also the theta m for LMTD, that is LMTD for counter flow heat exchanger. And now we have this expression for rate of heat transfer. Q is equal to U naught A naught into F into theta m, and the only unknown is A naught. And we are using this value of F as 0.92 here, and we can obtain this A naught for cross flow as 5.54 meter square degree Celsius. So you can observe the change in the value of A naught for each case and draw conclusions from it. (3,000 kg per hour of furnace oil is heated from 10 degrees Celsius to 90 degrees Celsius in a shell and tube type heat exchanger. The oil is to flow inside the tube while the steam at 120 degrees Celsius is condensed during the flow through the shell. The tubes of 1.65 cm ID and 1.90 cm OD are used. The heat transfer coefficients of oil and steam are 85 watt per meter square degree Celsius and 7420 watt per meter square degree Celsius. Find the number of passes and number of tubes in each pass required if the length of each tube is limited to 2.85 meter due to space limitations. The velocity of the oil is limited to 5 meter per second to keep the pressure drop low. Take density rho of the oil is equal to 900 kg per meter cube and specific heat of oil 1970 joule per kg Kelvin. So in this problem there are some limitations to the length of each tube they can have because of the space requirement there, limitations on the space available. The maximum length of this each tube is 2.85 meter, and if that is the case, you'll have to find out for the shell and tube heat exchanger what is the number of cubes in each pass and the number of passes. So the total area available of heat exchanger will be the product of number of tubes in each pass, number of passes multiplied by pi into d, that is outside diameter, into the length of the length that is limited. So in this problem, both inlet temperature and outlet temperature of oil is given, that is oil which is being heated, and in the process steam is getting condensed. Okay, that condensing temperature here is given as 120 degree Celsius. That means the temperature is going to remain during the condensation process, and both THI and TH not equal to 120 degree Celsius. So we have the data listed for this case. This is a problem on condenser, and length limitation is 2.85 meter. Diameters are given and corresponding values of radius can be found out. For here the hard fluid is steam, for which the temperature is 120 degree Celsius. Both inlet and outlet conditions remains the same during condensation. Density of oil is given as 900 kg per meter cube, whereas the steam side and oil side heat transfer coefficients are given. You can look at that since the steam is given, whenever there is a boiling happening or condensation, the heat transfer coefficient will be very much higher. In this case, you can observe on the condensation side the heat transfer coefficient is 7420 watt per meter square degree Celsius, and velocity of the oil inside the pipes. Remember, the oil is flowing inside the pipe and steam is external to it through the shell, and the oil side velocity is limited to 5 meter per second. And if you recall the flow losses through pipes, Darcy's equation or Chase's equation, head loss due to friction HF is equal to 4 FLV square by 2 GD. So you can directly say that this head loss is proportional to the velocity square times the velocity. So higher the velocity, larger will be the pressure drop or energy loss. So in order to keep that pressure drop low, it is given that the velocity can be limited to 5 meter per second only. So now using that here, this is a shell and tube heat exchanger, and we have from the equation for rate of heat transfer, Q is equal to m dot C into CPC into TCO minus TCI. From that you can find out what is the value of Q, that is rate of heat transfer, because we know m dot C and we also know CPC, and the inlet and outlet temperatures of cold fluid are also known. So we get value of Q as 131000 watts. Overall heat transfer coefficient, again in this case they have not addressed or they have not given what is the tube material made of, and also they are not given what is the thermal conductivity of that material. So we can neglect the resistance due to the pipe material. So when you reduce that, the overall heat transfer coefficient will become 1 by u naught is equal to r naught by ri into 1 by h naught hi plus 1 by h naught. So we know all these values, and substituting them we can get the value of u naught as 7205 watt per meter square degree Celsius. Remember, this overall coefficient indicates the rate of heat transfer in case of a heat exchanger along with the mean temperature difference, the logarithmic mean temperature difference. Now we have that for shell and tube heat exchanger, that is a multi-pass flow heat exchanger. The LMTD is to be found out for counterflow first and multiply that by correction factor, which is to be obtained by a graph or a plot for a particular case. So we have this expression for theta m of a multi-pass flow, and we have the counterflow heat exchanger LMTD, and we have all the values of temperatures in the LMTD equation. Substituting them, we can get the value of theta m. Now theta m is for counterflow. What is found out is 16.5 degree Celsius is LMTD of counterflow heat exchanger. Now we have to find out what is the correction factor. To find correction factor, we need to have P and R, and since we have all these values listed out, we can find the corresponding values of R and P. Remember, when it comes to condenser or boiler, either P or R will become 0. This is a condenser problem. In the numerator of R, capital T minus 1 minus T2 is there, T1 minus T2. So that is, in case of condenser, this numerator will be 0 because T1 is equal to T2. So automatically R is equal to 0. When it comes to evaporator, this P will be equal to 0 because the numerator T2 will be equal to T1, that is small t2 is minus T1 will be 0 because T1 is equal to T2. And in each case of condenser or evaporator, either P is 0 or R is 0, for which case we can say this correction factor from the charts is directly available as 1.0. This will be explained in the next slide. Okay, so for this problem where it's a condenser, since R value is 0, okay, we get F is equal to 1, that we can see now. Hence we can deduce that theta m of an evaporator or a condenser is equal to theta m for counterflow. Now we observe the graph carefully. This is for one shell tube and two, four, and many multiples of tube passes, and in this it is clear that for value P is equal to 0, the correction factor can be taken as 1. Okay, the value P is equal to 0, but here it is not the case of P is equal to 0 in this particular problem. It is R is equal to 0, and we have the curves drawn for R is equal to 0.2, 0.4, likewise it goes up to 4.0. The graphs, the curves what are available here are from R is equal to 0.2 to R is equal to 4.0. But if you want to extend it for R is equal to 0, it automatically becomes correction factor equals to 1. So that is the case we have here in this problem. When a phase change is involved, as in case of condensation or in case of boiling, one of the fluids definitely remains at constant temperature. In case of condensation, the hot fluid remains at constant temperature, whereas in case of evaporation, the cold fluid remains at constant temperature. So because of this, we can say P or R becomes 0. Definitely this correction factor becomes equal to 1 for boiling or condensation. So that's what we have now. This is we have for multipass flow. For this case of condenser, we can write that it is equal to, the LMTD is equal to 16.5 degree Celsius, which is the same as LMTD for counterflow. And we also have this Q and U naught together, which is calculated from the earlier part of the solution. Now our intention is to find out the number of passes and number of tubes in each pass. We have Q, theta m for multipass flow, and U naught also. We use all this to find out the number of passes. You can observe how this is done. The expression for Q is U naught A naught into theta m for multipass flow. And A naught is to be found out where all the other terms in the right hand side are known. Q, U naught and theta m are known. Substituting them, we can find out A naught as 29.5 meter square. Now assuming the number of tubes n in one pass, okay, in each pass there are n number of tubes. So it is also given that mass flow rate of oil is given as, no, it is to be found out. Mass flow rate, we have an expression, okay. Remember, this is the total mass flow rate, but there will be n number of tubes in each pass, and we just have to find it out only for one pass. It is not multiplied by the number of passes. So mass flow rate of oil m dot c, which is the core fluid, is equal to number of tubes in each pass multiplied by density of the oil multiplied by cross sectional area of the tube multiplied by the velocity. This is just by using the continuity equation, rho into A into V, but since there are n number of tubes, we have to consider that also. Writing my mathematical expression, n is the number of tubes in each pass, rho is the density, pi di square by 4 is for the cross sectional area of the tube, and V is for the velocity. V is 5 meter per second given. So n is not known, and m dot c is given here as the first one, 3000 kg per hour of furnace oil. So 3000 kg per hour to be converted into kg per second, and you can find out the number of tubes in each pass approximately equal to 87. Okay, and from this expression, if you could find out the number of tubes, now it is required to find out what is the number of passes to achieve the total heat transfer area. Surface area of each tube, okay, if the length is L and if the diameter of the tube is d naught, the surface area of each tube is A into pi d naught. A is equal to pi d naught into L, which can be found out as 3.14 into 0.019 into 2.85, that is the 0.17 square meter. Remember, this is surface area of one tube in one length from one end to the other end. But we have to find out what is the number of passes. To find it out, let us consider P is the number of passes, and we have this expression for A naught. A naught should be equal to the capital A naught, which is the total surface area of the heat exchanger, is equal to number of passes P multiplied by number of tubes in each pass multiplied by surface area of each tube. This becomes the total surface area of the heat exchanger. And in this case, we know small a and also n. A naught is calculated earlier. So number of passes can be found out by substituting those values. And now P becomes approximately equal to 2. You won't get a whole number. When you don't get it, you just approximate or round it off to the next whole number. So this is the complete solution to the problem. Considering the problem to be that of a condenser, where the steam is getting condensed at 120 degrees Celsius, we have tried out and found out N and P to be 87 and 2 respectively.